Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. That's on the Central Time Zone, 2 o'clock if you're in South Carolina. We appreciate you listening to us that way. You know, we are Fox News affiliates. We are, again, your source for finding out the truth on all kinds of stuff. Continue sending emails. That's how I know what you want to see. Send an email to Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. We are syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and all of the social media sites as well. And that's including Facebook. We've been there for a number of years. Now, a lot of you watch us. YouTube, X, and just if it's social media, we're doing it. But again, thank you so much for watching. And also, thank you so much for your input. It means a lot because you're the reason we have this show. Again, thanks for everything you do. And thanks for telling all your friends and neighbors about us as well. I have one of my very dear friends. This is Phillip Gilliland. He is with American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. It's always worth the drive to Alabama to come and talk to you,
Oh,
Phillip.
thank you. Thank you. I enjoy it.
Well, Phil, my husband Phil and I do miss seeing you at church.
Well, we miss y'all too.
Tell us about offensive responses. A lot of folks from different areas really don't know about the Cowboy Church.
Well, it's probably I've heard people say it was the fastest growing movement. The American Fellowship of Catholic Churches started in about 2000. I found my way into that network about '07 and '08. And the first one in Alabama was the Cowboy Church in Marshall County. What started out to be, and these guys that began this thing out in Texas, they had a great idea. And that idea was, look, these guys working on these ranches, they work 7 days a week. Let's go to these big outfits where there's several guys that we can get together and we'll feed them and we'll have a worship service with them during one evening, like after work one day, and doesn't matter what day, we'll just do that. And it started out that way, but just overnight it blew up, and there's churches now everywhere. It's amazing to me that and I have people all the time asking, well, how many are in Alabama? Well, there's 23 churches affiliated with us. There's two that are not affiliated with us, but it's all a good thing, very good.
Yes, you do. You got to come to Twin City used car sales.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you before I go, okay? Okay. You got to come to Twin City used car sales and buy
Yeah,
your vehicle.
it's a good
Definitely.
place. Absolutely, it's a great place. I love coming here, and I love to record here because we have a good friend in Bobby Ledbetter. He'll help people. Like he's helping me right now try to locate a vehicle for my 17-year-old. But back to the subject we were on, and we still have so much interest. We have several guys that are waiting to go through the pastor process. And next Sunday night, this coming Sunday night, I'll be at the Sequatchie Valley Cowboy Church up in Whitwell, Tennessee. This will be their second meeting, and they're starting a new church there. We have a new church that's starting on the upper end, wait by just about 2.5 hours straight north of there, right on the Kentucky line. Uh, that's another church that's starting up there, and they're just sprouting up everywhere. We're about to affiliate with a great church, Blue Ridge Cowboy Church over in Fairview, North Carolina. Real excited about Brother Lewis Gibson, and he's been a church for a long time. Been doing a great job. But we met him through the hurricane disaster that hit East Tennessee and Western North Carolina, and when we Curtis was up there cooking. Curtis stayed in his house, I think. So he said, "Man, I need to be part of y'all," and we said, "We want you to be part of us." And so we're real excited about having them and some of these other churches come along because we know that we're all better together. There's strength in numbers and strength in a fellowship that And we're strewn from Utah to Montana to Wake Forest, North Carolina, and Williston, Florida, and all points in between. But it's unbelievable how connected we are, our churches, and people come from Texas to help us, and we go from here to Texas to help them, and all kinds of places. But I love that about that's the main thing. See, guys like me, there's I think 8 of us staff members and maybe 9 now, but we serve the churches, so we actually work for the churches. We answer to a board of directors that is mostly pastors of churches all over the country. Uh, we have a board member from Tennessee and one from Florida, and in fact, one from Mississippi. Uh, right now, there's not one from Alabama, but we've had the last 3 terms of board members. We've had one from Alabama, so it's a great thing to be part of is the fellowship. But the churches started doing this back in the like '04 and '05 when the numbers just started off with a few churches, and then that ballooned up in a hurry too. So we're having to play catch up because we don't just let anybody join us. We ask the pastor. We do a thorough background check on people, and we we want them to go through a process to make sure we're similar, like-minded in our interpretation of the scriptures. Uh, and and then we find that strength of helping one another and helping. The ultimate goal is always to reach people with the gospel of Christ. So that's what we do, and I love doing it. I really enjoy being part of it. I've been doing it for a while now, so uh, I think I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not as young as I once was, but it's been a really great experience.
Yes, it's been a good experience for me too, because I've never heard of the Cowboy Church.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what, people know about the Cowboy Church now. Now, there's a few things that really stick out to me, and I've shared with you. I was a divorced mom once,
yeah,
and just didn't have a whole lot of money, and so it seemed like the quietness of the church when they were passing that plate. When it got to me, you could hear me putting quarters in there.
yeah,
And it was embarrassing. It really
yeah,
was. And then I had a young son that would cry in church, that kind of thing. So I felt like I was disrupting the
yeah,
church. I noticed several times if a baby does cry, it's like everybody smiles.
yeah,
It's like it's breathing. It's moving.
yeah, yeah. And I've always said this to young couples that come in the first time with a baby. I tell them, now listen, if that child bothers you and you want to take him out, that's one thing. But I can promise you, it will not bother us. We love the sound of a baby crying in church because that means the church has life and the newness of life in church. So, we don't pass an offering plate because of that very reason. Our goal is to remove the barriers that keep people from coming to church. So we put a little barn in the back, and if people want to give, they can put it in that little barn. If they have maybe they have a serious prayer request and they don't want to share it with everybody, they can write that down and put it in the barn, and I'll get it, and and then we'll deal with it. But our goal is to remove all those barriers. We start taking away the barriers, and we had some new people that were there yesterday. Some were there for the second time, and they told me, and I was talking to them before church, and they told me, said, "Man, this is why we love it. It's because we didn't have to come here and meet anybody. We came here and immediately we thought we knew everybody." And I said, "Well, that's the way it should be. You shouldn't have to look like us or smell like us or dress like us. You just come like you are." And that's the way people come to our church. They don't dress up necessarily. Sometimes there'll be somebody dressed up because they're going somewhere else afterward. And I've had guys to come in from the deer stand and still have their hunting boots on when they tromped into church. That's fine too, because I'm glad they were at church, and they want to go deer hunting and come straight to church. That's good for me, and they can wear the same clothes they had on. And people get up and go get coffee in the middle of the music and things. And that's good. That shows you're enjoying where you're at
Oh,
and have a relaxed atmosphere, feel right at home. So I love, and I knew all those years ago when I first went in and saw what this was about. I knew that was going to be me. I mean, I knew I was done. And I thank the Lord for traditional church. I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing if it wasn't. But by and large, traditional church has done the same thing for the last 100 years, and they've lost a lot of what they had. So much of their focus is not on reaching lost people for Christ. It's about keeping up the cemetery or adding carpet or how we're going to do this to the building, and all that stuff's well and good. That's not what Jesus told us to do. He said, "Go make disciples." That's what he told us to do. And so everything we do is kind of got that focus. And some people will come to Cowboy Church and they think, well, man, this is just a cool place to go wear jeans and a hat. And that's true. But when they realize, oh, goodness, this is still a real church, they still read the Bible, they still preach, and they still teach. And, well, they may not stay because they didn't come there looking for that. They came there for some other reason. So sometimes they don't stay. But, I think we still do what we do, and for the most part, we're extremely successful. There's a huge movement of growth going on across the country. Probably the biggest thing is LDS churches out in Utah where people have left that faith and started cowboy churches out there that are just growing and booming, and that surprises a lot of people. But if you heard that story and heard Brother Larry, who's a pastor out there, tell that that story of how he left it, and I've had him to tell it to me in great detail. I'll give you the rough version. He went to church on a Easter Sunday, and they never mentioned the death, burial, and resurrection. He said to me, and he told me, he said, that's when I really started studying. He said, I thought Easter was all about, the resurrection of Christ. And he said, so the more I studied, the more questions I asked, nobody would answer me and nobody could answer him. He said, so finally they turned me out. And he said, I couldn't buy groceries, I couldn't buy horse feed at the feeds because they're all connected. So he went off. He had to move to
that's
a
not
couple of.
Christian.
No, he had to move away. He had to move away and then started a cowboy church. And that cowboy church now is just booming. It's got 100 something people comes every week. Guess what? About 80% of them are ex-Mormons that figured out the same thing.
Well, people want to feel connected when they go to church. And I wanted to mention one church, and this one is the one that's out there in close to Fort Payne.
Yeah, yeah.
And that one just started just overnight. I remember it started, it was like a three wall barn.
Yeah.
Kind
It was a shed. I
It
hate
was a,
shed.
and for all the reasons people don't want to go to church, you don't want to go to church. Sometimes the excuses would be like it's too cold, or it's too hot, or it's.
Well, they didn't have to worry
So,
about it. They didn't
well,
have to
actually,
argue.
it was too cold and too hot,
Yeah,
but
it
everybody
was.
still wanted to go.
Well, it's because when you
Did
take a
everything you say you don't want to go for.
when you take away all the barriers and you get focused on the right thing, those other things won't be near as important as we made them. And it's amazing to me because we're doing a clinic at that church, and
Look out now.
yeah, in May the 24th. And I'm extremely excited to get to go and help with that. We have people coming from Texas. I wouldn't be surprised. Where our chuck wagons will be there cooking. The one we have several chuck wagons going to show up and cook that day, and it's going to be a great day. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was 300 people show up there. In fact, I think we're expecting a huge crowd.
And it's out in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
It is.
I'm just telling you, it's not that hard to find, but it's just in the country.
It is.
And but I remember we had an event there. This is before we moved to North Carolina, South Carolina, and so the pastor's wife there is absolutely awesome. I mean, she's something else. And but we had clouds surrounding us. It was an
Oh yeah,
outdoor
yeah.
event, and it was so funny because I said we need to think about going inside, but there was like a three-sided. I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
new church hadn't been built yet, so I was like, "Well, where are we going to go?" Because then she said, "No, I've already prayed. It's not going to rain." And I said, "But look, you can see the rain is the snake." And she said, "It's not going to rain. I've already prayed for it." And I said, "Okay." And it didn't rain
Yeah,
until we all got inside.
yeah.
We finished eating. It was just so.
You know, since you mentioned that, I don't think
She
they'd
got
care for me
afraid
sharing.
of anything.
I don't think they'd care for me sharing this. They had their quarter auction this past Saturday night, and that money, they used that money last year to send over 100 kids to church camp. They raised Saturday night. They raised, I believe it was around 41 or $42,000 Saturday night. They'll send over 100 kids again. Yeah, I'm telling you, those people have got to go. That church won't even be, it won't even be 4 years old till this coming July.
I mean, it expanded twice the time we were there.
And they're finding room again because it's full. I mean, there's 250 people shows up every Sunday. So it's a great thing, and what a blessing to get to, uh, fellowship with Don and Judy and the things they do. Man, they are just top shelf people. And a huge part of their success is Robert and Selena Sinclair who do the youth. Man, there's just not better people than those. They have some really great young people, and they just all do a fantastic job. So I can't wait to go there. We hadn't done a clinic there yet. This will be their first really big AFCC event. So I'm excited about that. In fact, it's just about 4 weeks away, and I can't wait. It will, and I'm looking so forward to that. Then coming in June, our church, the Trading Post Capital Church there in Woodville, will be hosting the Scottsboro Rodeo. Been doing Scottsboro Rodeo for years and years and years, and this year they moved it out to our church. So that was their request, and so we're very excited about that. I can't wait to see, 2,500 people show up at our church for the rodeo. It'll be a Friday night, Saturday night, in late June, and this should be a really good thing. Should be a great opportunity. We'll share the gospel horseback in the arena, and I mean, we just got a lot, and plus, a lot of our churches are involved in different events every weekend, and we got a lot of things going on. So it's a really busy time, and our folks are really working hard, and I'm so thankful for the servanthood that comes out of our churches because without people stepping up and helping, we couldn't do any of the things that we do. So we have a lot of people. We do things by teams. We do things by consensus. We don't vote on many things. We mostly, yeah,
You can get into a mess with a church that wants to
yeah,
vote on carpet. I've always said, I don't care if it's pink, purple, polka
yeah,
dot. I can care less. It's not what I want to go with, therefore, anyway.
yeah. And I think that's the thing. When you vote on every little thing, it divides people. So when you say we're going to have a consensus, either we're going to do it or we're going to pray till we all believe we're going to do it, and we get in unity about it, then we do it. But if there's not unity, then we just don't do it. And maybe it wasn't meant to be. It's the wrong time or the wrong season, and that might change in the future. But anyway, There's the man of the hour, Brother Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
Bobby, you got to come here and tell people who you are.
Well,
This is my friend Bobby Linden.
yes. How y'all doing this morning?
Yeah, there you go.
Y'all doing all right today?
We love the truck. Can we say I'm glad to have my truck?
Well,
Yeah.
I tell you
It's
what.
supposed to be Phil's truck, but it's
Well,
not.
you know, whatever here is here.
You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get in that bit.
Yeah, this is what he said. He said, you realize this is my truck. And I said, well, yeah, kind of.
Good.
But we do love it. And thank you for everything you do in the community. I am just seeing all kinds of stuff.
Well,
you do.
we've been blessed, and we like to hear from people. You remember just like what y'all
Yeah,
Cowboy church, so it means a lot.
yeah. I gotta talk to you. I got an order for you
Oh, yeah,
before I
well,
leave.
good deal.
Yeah.
That was Bobby Ledbetter with City Used Car Sales. He's located in Gadsden, Alabama, but he sells all over the
Oh,
place.
he does.
He's definitely worth the drive, so you got to get down here. So Phil had the truck, he bought the truck back in October, I think it was last year, and there was something that had to be tweaked on it. And so, actually, we didn't tell Bobby because we wanted him to tweak it. But anyway, he said, "Bring it down here. I got to check it out." So he did. It was just some little minor or something like that. And I said, "Well, Bobby, how much we owe you for that?" And he said, "Well, nothing."
Yeah.
So it's service after the sale. Now, good motoring with
Yeah,
it was something that had to be tweaked.
Oh, he's the best. That's why he has customers that have relocated into other parts of the country, and they'll come all the way back here to buy a vehicle from him. And I understand that because we've already bought
Worth
one,
the drive.
and we're about to buy the second one. And you just can't beat this guy when it comes to finding what you want, taking care of you. He understands the customer better than anybody I know, and he's looking out for the. It's not a one-sided thing with him. He is looking out for his customers because he's built a customer base that's incredible. So I just think he's one of the best.
We're all connectors, and that's why we all worked good together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what happened is COVID had hit, and so a lot of folks had lost their jobs, couldn't find food, and it was just terrible. You remember everything
Oh,
was
yeah.
on delay. You would order stuff, you
Yeah.
go to the grocery store, all the shelves would be empty, that kind of thing. It was because of that terrible thing that happened here when COVID hit. And so Bobby said, "I'm just going to go. I'm going to get feed a bunch of people in Fort Payne." Well, he did, and I had him come on the show, and he talked about it. And they was it like 1,400 people, I think they fed that first time,
Yeah.
and he enjoyed it. I'm gonna tell you, it got
Oh,
a
he was
kick
right
out,
in the middle of it.
and he loved it. And this is before we all got together.
Yeah.
And so he said, Miss Donna, is there another area that I can go? And I said, yes, go Scottsboro, maybe. It's
Yeah.
the second one right
That's
there.
right.
And I said, and I'd heard about your cowboy church,
Yeah.
cowboy and the chuck wagons and all those things. And you had been on the show anyway several times. And so I remember I asked Bobby, I said, well, what if we got to go to cowboy church? They bring the church wagons and we do something. That was another record day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, a ton of people came that day. John Merrill wanted to get
Oh, yeah.
involved. They came in and had one to what, 8 places or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, we did that in 5 different counties or six, and 5 or 6 counties, and we tallied it all up at the end, and the best number we had, we thought we fed some number over 40,000 people in the process of that, and we would have never done it without Bobby Ledbetter. He was the catalyst behind all of it. He even had people there doing music, and he was meeting people and greeting people, and the big deal to me. And this said more. We were over at Center, and you missed that one. And we had cooked Boston butts all night that Friday night, and then on that Saturday we had a huge crowd of people. I mean, huge. Cars were lined up a mile back, and we were giving out food, and when we got almost to the end of it, and lo and behold, we had about 20 cars left, and we ran out of food. We just gave it all away. And so he calls the local fast food restaurant, gives them his credit card number, and says, everybody that comes in there that says they've been up here, he said, I want you to feed them whatever they want to eat. Give it to them. And I'll be down there.
That's a heart of gold right
Oh,
there.
oh, it was. I mean, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that. And he, sure enough, when we got done, he went down and settled up on got his receipt for what he had already paid for, and all those folks got food and were thrilled to death. And I thought then, I said, this guy's not just your typical. And I've known him. We come from the same. He grew up there near me, so I've always known him. And I knew he was a Christian, but I didn't know what a good, giving, what a very compassionate person he was until we started all
Well, he had retired from selling cars in Fort Payne,
that. Yeah.
and everybody missed him. I mean, it was just, it was just a terrible 6 months without. Of course, we're still friends. We're still connected. So this is what he did. So he thought he was going to retire. Well, I didn't think it was going to last long because he
He's too busy. He's too busy.
So he did something that most people wouldn't do. He started his business back up again in Gadsden, a different area. Instead of going to Fort Payne, he comes to Gadsden to try, there.
Yeah.
Overnight success,
Relocated here.
People remembered what he did.
Oh, and people still come from all those areas. Anybody that's ever bought one from him before, there's a high percentage of a chance that they're coming back to buy
He's
again.
not doing people right. What people don't understand about a one-time sale, some people just want a one-time sale. They don't think about the future. Just think about that one-time sale. They're going to have kids.
Yeah.
He already has people who are buying cars now who are grandkids of people who bought cars.
Yes.
So it's a generational thing. So you got to take good care of your customers, take good care of your family, do things like that. And the guy's not out begging for sales.
No. He knows how to find the good. Yep. We've been here, and we're about to get another one here. So I wouldn't think about anybody else but him to buy a used vehicle. He just nobody like him. Just nobody.
We're going to have to go into a commercial break. 30 minutes flies by on it.
It does.
We'll be right back in just a minute.
Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, or anytime you want to, really, because we're on social media, right? You can find us syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast now on thenewscasters.com. You can find us that way. Another way you can find us through all social media sites. We do all of that. And by the way, we are at Twin City Used Car Sales, located right here in Gadsden, Alabama. Thank you guys all for doing business with Bobby. We just talked about, but now it's not just Bobby. You guys were huge in helping with those feed events. So it's just folks getting together of like-minded.
Yes, that's true. And when you join forces, there's strength in those forces, and we work together for a common good or trying to help people. And I thought so many times how educational it was for some of the young people that got to be part of it, and my boys included. Of course, when John Merrill, I have a picture of them with John Merrill, and he was gracious and kind to talk to every one of those young people, and they learned what it's like to give food to somebody in a car that's living out of that car. So I think that's something they need to understand the value in being able to help somebody that may be having a hard time. And certainly we handed out some food to some vehicles that you could tell people were living out of their car. It was a challenging time. So we couldn't have done it without Bobby, and thank the Lord that it worked out. And he blessed it, and we all got something good. We all were blessed to be a part of it.
I'm just glad we're part of it. You know, talking with folks all over the country, and the show syndicated in all 50 states, and even missionaries who live in other
Yeah.
countries watch the show. That way, you guys can kind of keep up with what's going on in your hometown. And so probably the biggest questions that I get about the Cowboy Church, and people just ask, do they ride horses inside the church? I mean,
Well, we do use the arena for outreach.
but that's outside. It's not
It is
inside.
outside the church. It's a church. I mean, it's still a church. We do a lot of events and stuff that attract people, but we use that as a tool for outreach. And we don't do anything, no matter what it is, we don't do anything that we don't share the gospel. That is their number one thing is to represent our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and proclaim His gospel. That's what we do. So people, and especially young people. This is why there's so many young people coming. There's young people who have come and come to our ride nights in our arena, and they've never been on a horse. They don't have a horse, but we have horses they can get on, and all of a sudden, I'll tell you this. Of course, we went to the rodeo out at the Young Guns Youth Rodeo Saturday, and Jacob did good. My 15-year-old rode a ranch bronc and made the buzzer. I was so proud of him for the effort he put into it. But listen, there was all these other kids from our church that are there on a borrowed horse, a borrowed saddle, and they couldn't do this if it wasn't for people in our church helping them. They don't have a horse trailer. They don't have something to pull a horse trailer in. So we got people with good hearts that take them, and I get to show up and pray for them before they get to compete. And I tell you, it delights my heart above everything. And I want this one particular young lady, and her family struggles a little bit. She's an awesome young lady. I baptized her a year ago, and she has worked and earned cleaning houses, earned her entry fee money herself.
Oh, see, you guys have taught her something.
Yes, that's right. And the way I knew that is I went to one of my lay pastors who was pulling them around and furnishing them a way to get there, furnishing them a saddle, furnishing them a horse. And I told him, I said, listen, I want to help. I want to help financially. I don't want you to. I said, who's paying their entry fees? I think it might be you. He said, oh, no. He said, they've worked and earned their own entry fee. I said, really? And he started telling me who, and I know the houses they clean, and yes. So, man, what a blessing. And I
Those
was,
are life lessons.
oh, it is. And you know, she's, I would say she's kind of had it rough. Since I'm not going to say her name, but I'll say this: her dad's an alcoholic. He doesn't have a whole lot to do with her. Her mom is a good lady and is working and helping her and doing all she can. And but this kid is just precious to me because she is willing to work. Now listen, I watched her plow the ground up 2 or 3 times, falling off. But she would bounce back up with a smile and get right back on it. She was not going to be defeated, and she was so happy. I saw her yesterday. She comes running up in church, hugs my neck, and told me what her time was. She said, I sure didn't win nothing with it, but I sure enjoyed trying. And she worked and earned her own entry fee money. So what a blessing.
You guys are teaching life lessons all over the place. Another one, this is Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church. And so the kids come back from the weekend, okay, and it's this local thing. We went to a local grocery store, and they were taught not to be judgmental.
Yeah.
So what they were doing is they were helping folks bag their groceries and put them in the car.
Yeah.
And just helping everybody. And so laughing at Don Hunt, and he said, the kids were loading beer and everything else. But they were not judging the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just asking them.
Well, you know, it's not up to that's the thing, and I mentioned it in my sermon yesterday.
They don't have time for that.
It is a terrible thing, and I think it's probably one thing that affects all of us. It is so easy to get caught up in judging somebody, and yet the Bible tells us in 3 different places that Jesus is no respecter of person. He doesn't have a favor. Money never impressed him. Social status didn't impress him. In fact, the elite religious leaders of the day are the ones that crucified him. So and I think we're called to help people. We're called to serve Him, be the hands and feet of Christ. That's what we do. So what a blessing it is. And I said to some guys in a group text this morning, we're struggling. I've got some people that are really sick, and one of those I saw. And here's the struggle for pastors. Let me tell you what a struggle for a pastor is. This happened last week before the fishing tournament, before the rodeo. I went one day and saw this lady. She's 88 years old. Her husband's 92. She's got cancer, and she doesn't have long. She's under hospice care. And she has had a really tough life. I mean, lived through some hardships. She was raised in the oil fields of West Texas, and but she is a precious soul to be around. and she's done music in our church. That's how I got to know her. But I got to pray with her one day. That was, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. And the next day, I'm at the hospital with a young couple having their second baby. So one day, it's like you're on the gas pedal one day and you slam on the brakes the next day. And that emotion can be the weight that a pastor has to carry. It's because you're either involved in something really good one minute and the next, and she's not the only one. And I've got a dear friend that is really struggling with cancer. He's under hospice care too, and those things weigh on you so bad. So it's like you're on the mountaintop one minute, down in the valley the next. So that's the struggle that pastors have, and I think our Cowboy Church pastors probably care more deeply than anybody I've ever seen because they just they're willing to let their guard down and accept people and all kinds of people background or history, no matter how bad they've been or how good they are. They love them. And so this group of pastors that I get to be part of is just, they amaze me. And they have a life, and sometimes it's a struggle. So they have sickness, they have death, they have things that go on in their own family. And then they're still reaching out and trying to help people, just like I've just described.
Sometimes what members of church will do is they'll say, "Well, that's not my job. That's the preacher's job. Let him handle it." And you get too much shoved on you.
Well, you do, and sometimes,
We're supposed to find your room a little bit.
and I've got guys that do. That's the thing, the Cowboy Church model for Cowboy Church is so different because we have elders and lay pastors and team leaders, and those guys take so much off of me, and and I've learned to give it to them, let them take things, and it's a struggle because the way I grew up, it was always the pastor, but I've learned that in this church model, you delegate those things, and those guys are standing eagerly awaiting to grab something for you and help you with it. And so I've had to learn to do that, and I haven't got it all figured out, but I'm getting there.
It's an amazing job. There's another guy that I don't mention enough. His name is Leland. He's out at Lookout
Yeah.
Mountain Cowboy Church. He has done a lot to help.
Oh, he's really helped that church. What a great guy. Did you know he was an ag teacher over there
Me
next
and
to
him are
me?
buddies when it comes to planning things. Absolutely.
He's a great guy. Him and Brother Wendell. Brother Wendell is another one. There's some, and every church is like that. I can go see. That's the neat part. I can go to that church and I recognize these guys that helped Don carry the load. And people come to our church. They do the same thing. They recognize those guys that helped me carry the load. So that's the good part. And there's times when I may call another pastor and ask for his help. There's lots of times when other pastors have called me and asked for my help, and I'm thankful they do, because I've been blessed to have some people in my church that can fill my place in the pulpit and preach and do a fantastic job. So it allows me to go help somebody else.
It was Leon's three-sided arm.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And he didn't have to, but I think I'm not sure if he sold it or gave it to him, but the new church, I think, is built on some of his land. And I'm guessing he probably gave it to him because he's that kind of person. He's just a great guy, really good man, really good man. And thank the Lord for those guys because that's what you find in cowboy churches is those kind of guys that have so much heart. And those people that make up cowboy churches, they have so much heart. And I love that about it. It's not about trying to outdress somebody else or trying to be better than anybody. You just are yourself. People come to Cowboy Church the same way they went to Jesus, in whatever shape they're in. and we accept them that same way.
There's a diversity of people who come to Cowboy Church. I know you guys have people from all social states.
I get tickled at it, and I've said a lot about it. But I had a conversation yesterday with a guy who's an aeronautical space engineer. I mean, really a brilliant guy. He teaches our youth on Sunday morning. He's just a fantastic guy. But
It
last
doesn't matter.
no, and he'll be standing there drinking coffee with a guy that drives a truck for a living. You know, one of the best blessings in our church is we have these electricians and plumbers. That's how we got the new church. And so if we need something, I mean, there's all these guys that do that for a living, and they're just chomping at the bits to jump right in. Of course, probably one of our engineers, another one of our engineers, is 92 years old. His name is Brother uh, Dwayne, and Brother Dwayne, you wouldn't. He is a live. He's on his way to North Carolina today. He's going up there for a week, and he's going to visit some places that he's got. Well, he make, yeah.
Well, keep it young.
He chops wood for the chuck wagon team, and we've laughed and but still, that is his thing. And it just he blows me away. And I believe the Lord sent him to us to help us build the church. He was the guy that encouraged us so much to get the, and he's really encouraging us right now to cover our arena. And we've got some new quotes on it. We don't have the money for it. But we have got to get a cover on it because we've lost so many days of doing things in the arena because of the weather. We just got to get a cover on it, and we're praying about that. I hope pretty soon we have that. We know where we're getting it. We're getting it from Adam Humphrey, my best friend's oldest son. He sold us the kit for the church building, and he's a class young man, a first class young man. So we know who we're going to do business with. We just got to come up with a little more money, but we're pretty close. It will happen. It will happen.
And Boaz, you guys have a Sand Mountain.
Yeah, Michael Marsh pastors that church is another one that's running 250 every Sunday, and it's just full as it can be right now. And what a blessing! He does a great job, and they are just booming. They've got it going on down there. There's 4 churches in Marshall County, and every one of them are just full. Southern Cross over at Arab is completely out of room, and they've done some remodeling on the building and tried to make it where they could get by, but and they've got a huge number of young people. They have a lively, active bunch of youth in that church, and they're just doing great. I love that bunch. Of course, I pastored there for 3.5 years, and I love those people. But Justin Staten is their pastor. He's doing a fantastic job there. Marshall County in Albertville has a new pastor. His name is Dusty Poe. Their church is growing and doing great, and he's a really good guy. I've got to know him. I helped do his ordination service, and he went through the process. Him and his wife Kelly. I'm so excited for what they're bringing new life into that church, and they've got some great things going on there. And I could talk about these churches now, but I mean they're scattered all over the country, and it is just amazing what's happening in these churches.
That's for a contact. The hurricane that came through North Carolina and Asheville just got torn to pieces. And so Kaylee Johnson at the Gadsden Mall right here, she called. She said, "Donna, I need help. I need the Cowboy Church. I need to call. They need to call Phillip Gilliland." And I said, "Yeah. Call Phillip." And what happened was, is she put it out there, and I put it out there that they were collecting food, but they didn't have. They got more food than they thought they were going to get.
Yeah.
I called you, and then Henniger comes to action. They come
Crossover
to
Cowboy Church. I called them because I knew they were going. See, that's the thing about being connected and communicating with each other. We knew who was going and who had a full trailer, who had a partially full. So by connecting and communicating, we figured that out real quick, and we got it
Really
on.
got the big Wormy.
Yeah,
And she just says, I met Wormy.
yeah,
So that was just, it's really
yeah.
good because they were able, because she did her part, but she needed a way to transport it
Yeah,
too.
yes. So we sent it up there, and you know, I'm glad our board saw fit. They set aside some money. Well, let me tell you one of the great things about that for me personally. I used to 20 something years ago. I worked for a guy named Don Muir. Don's been retired for a while. But when I worked, I hadn't heard from him in a long time. His health's not been the best. He's a Vietnam veteran, a great guy. He was a hard man to work for, but man, he was the same to everybody. It was just like it was like working for a really good coach. He wasn't being mean or ugly to you. He was challenging to give your best. That's what he was like. But he sent a lot of money. Him and his daughter Michelle sent money to help us do that. And I got to tell you this, just last Friday, I got a package in the mail, and he makes these, and they are incredible. Little wooden toys, little trucks, and things that he is. They're immaculate, and he wants me to take those the next time I go. When I see some kid that looks like they need a little bit of encouragement, give them one of those. I mean, the things I get to do and the people I get to meet and be around, but Don Muir, man, you can't beat the guy. And he hadn't even seen me in 20 years. Uh, so he sent lots of money to help us, and we've sure invested it in that hurricane relief stuff up there. And I know he's going to have prayers when he gets
You
there.
guys were great. I'm just telling you, when the hurricane hit, and I mean, Cowboy Church is all over the place.
Yeah, we went straight away, and we're kind of that's our wheelhouse. You know, I mean, we're a bunch of country boys, and so when you say somebody needs something, we say where and how fast can get it there. And I forgot what day that happened, Thursday or Friday, and on Monday morning I was on my way to Morristown, Tennessee, and I just took what we had in our church. They needed water, and just so happened we had bought 2 pallets of water, so I loaded them that Monday and left and went up there. And then we started organizing trip after trip. Rodney Sanders from Limestone County Cowboy Church, he carried a lot of things up there. Uh, every one of our guys, Curtis went and cooked three different times. Curtis has been up there and cooked. So carried the chuck wagons, and that's how we met Brother Lewis Gibson because of that hurricane. It's amazing how God will have people cross your paths, and I've been kind of thinking and preaching about that some lately too. Because He'll have somebody cross your path for a purpose, and you may not know what it is right now, but down the road you'll look and see what that purpose is.
Scottsboro Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And so what happened, we wanted ribbon cutting. And so the lady who was the president of the Chamber of Commerce at that time asked me how many people I thought would show up. And I said, 50 to 100 people. So she talks to Phil, my husband, and she said, now Donna's very ambitious. She thinks she's going to have 50 to 100 people come to the ribbon cutting. She'll do good to have 10. That's including us. You know, she'll do good to have 10. So we have the ribbon cutting. You guys are there with Chuck Wagon. Got to meet Mr. Chester. He's an amazing guy right there.
Yeah.
And so over 400 people
Yeah.
showed up. So the people from the Chamber of Commerce went, we've never had a ribbon cutting like this before. And so then she started asking about the Cowboy Church, and then other people. So you never know the connections.
That's right. That's right. And those are great, fun experiences to think back on, and it's just a blessing to get to do what I get to do. I had it's like last week I had this little girl up in my lap, and I'm holding a brand new baby that's just been born, and she's I got a picture of her, and she's a doll. Her name is Macy, and I was there when Macy was born too. But I just think it was a pretty day like today, and little Jagger was born that morning, and what a blessing it was to get to sit and hold him. And it's those little things that you know it's not about money or it's about the little things that God lets you do and see and feel that are so much more than, than what something that money could buy. You know? Oh goodness!
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not only helping the baby, you're helping that mama.
Well, and I've got to baptize. That's how I got to know these people. I baptized that little mama several years ago in a church before they ever had children. They'd gotten married and they're an awesome couple, Cooter and Tiffany Goodman, and I've just enjoyed watching their family grow, and it happens that all through our churches to see those families come along and grow, and so that's your church for tomorrow. Those little ones are the church of the future. Better not. And I know, and I've said to my church, look, I know y'all think that because I never miss a kids and youth night on Wednesday. I rarely miss one of those. I may miss a Sunday because I'm in some other church. I rarely miss our Wednesday nights because of those youth and children. And I know I've been criticized a little bit for it, like, well, he sure pays a lot of attention to them. You're right, I do, because that's who's going to be.
That's the future.
That's right.
Absolutely. Less than 2 minutes left in this segment. If you are thinking about organizing a Cowboy Church, American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, how do you get started?
Well, the first thing is contact one of us. Go to the website. It's AmericanFCC.org. AmericanFCC.org. We're had some people to reach out to us from New Jersey. We do have one in Michigan. That pastor's doing great. So Montana's got about three now. Utah has two, and so they're still growing. And don't think you're living in a place where a Catholic church might not be good because some of them have a unique market. People don't. It's like Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's really out in Louisville, but it's not 10 minutes out of Wake Forest. They may be a little bit different, but they're still one of our churches. They got a goal and a mission, and you never know what the Lord can do. You may think, well, there's no way we'd ever have a Cowboy church. Man, people probably thought the same thing about Lookout Mountain, and they're one of the fastest growing Cowboy churches in the country is Cowboy Church of Lookout Mountain. Yeah,
It's one of the, all of New York is not skyscrapers and whatever.
Yeah, that's right. There's some farm country there. There's
Gorgeous area, but do get in contact with them. I'm sure you'll be glad you did.
Oh yeah. Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for watching. You're the reason we do this. Thank you for the emails. Definitely appreciate that. Donna at donnasedge.com. Just keep watching, keep sharing the show. We definitely appreciate that. You take care. See you next time.